Sox in the basement.
I'm the Sox Nerd with my weekly Sox Stumper. Can you name the pitcher who became famous forever after leaving the White Sox, who led the American League in shutouts for the 1966 and 1967 Sox? I'll have my answer at the end of my spiel later in this podcast.
It is Sox in the Basement, brought to you by Hyatt Home Medical Equipment and many others. Now with less echo for those on the YouTube feed, Ed.
Oh,
less
okay.
echo. Sometimes, I'm an army of one over here producing this show. And sometimes there's a mistake. And I clicked the wrong button. And the first little segment, and it was really only like 4 or 5 minutes, there was an echo. On the audio only on the YouTube feed on the last show. It has since been corrected. And I want to thank all of you that pointed it out in the nicest way on the YouTube feed. Because people are super nice. Like when you make a mistake. They're always like, hey, Chris, love the show. You made a mistake. You're human. And we're all human. It's kind of like, they definitely don't write, your show's all screwed up, fix it in like caps. They don't do that.
No way, shape, or form are they in any way, shape, petty or demanding.
No, not at all. I didn't get called a jag in the comments. And it's
No.
This episode of Sox in the Basement and every episode brought to you by Hyatt Home Medical Equipment. Switch to a new age of life. Keep mom and dad, grandma and grandpa out of assisted living and make it so they can get around on their own and live independently. Stair lifts, ramps, grab bars, lift chairs, even bathroom remodeling. The way they set up a bathroom, super interesting. Like, as they can set it up where if you're unable to just lift your leg into the tub, they can make it walk in, roll in. They have bars that they'll install, and it looks really classy. Like, I've been to the showroom and seen it. Like, you wouldn't even like think of it as like, oh, this is a medical bathroom, or this is for somebody who has some disabilities or has gone through something. It looks really high end and nice. It looks nicer than my bathroom. They also have the latest and greatest in CPAP machines and continuous glucose monitors. Hyatt works with your insurance and has 0% financing for qualified individuals. Check out Hyatt Home Medical Equipment on the Southwest Side in Evergreen Park. There's going to be a banner there soon, just like there is at Cork and Carry. All the sponsors want banners. They give me shirts. They want banners because they love to celebrate that they're part of Sox in the Basement, which is awesome.
It's a fair trade. We're walking advertisement. They're stationary advertisement.
They're really excited to be part of it, and that's what I love about all the people that support the show. Check out Hyatt Home Medical Equipment, the proud sponsors of Sox in the Basement at hhme.com. My long run of White Sox gear or sponsor gear on the video takes a pause. I'm wearing my Brother Ice sweatshirt. I went to Brother Ice on the South Side, and today I made my son Dominic Lanuti's last lunch that I'll ever pack for him to go to school, as it was his last full day at Brother Ice. I've been packing this kid's lunches since he was in preschool, and this was the last. It was weird. Like, I'm making a salami sandwich and almost tearing up.
Yeah, like
it hits you like, oh my God, time has flown.
Oh, yeah, I know. My son got suspended. He's about to graduate 8th grade. I'm like, oh, you had to get him one for the road, huh?
Very different experiences at your house than mine.
Yeah, a little bit.
You got great kids. But Dom enjoyed his time at Brother Ice. By the time that this episode comes out, this is his last day. The day that the episode comes out, it's like a half day. They have graduation practice. I get to stand up on stage as an alum and give him his diploma in a couple of weeks
cool.
when they actually have the ceremony. I think that's really cool. Like, the alum dads get to actually be part of the ceremony with their sons, which is super awesome. I think they did that at Mother Macaulay for my daughter, if there were alum moms that were there. But I get to do that. I'm excited. He's got his prom here on Saturday. Had to help the guy get a tux. And he had a pretty good high school career, Dominic Lanuti. Technically, 3 Catholic League championships on teams that he played on. Although the only reason he's on the hockey one is because they hadn't taken him off the roster officially when he quit to play water polo.
Oh, well, there you go.
When he was like, okay. I'm going to focus on water polo. So he technically actually won 3 Catholic League championships, but he actually played in 2 Catholic League championship games for Brother Ice water polo. And for the 4th year in a row, his robotics team is going to the World Championships with a select number of high schools and universities around the world. And
See, now that to me, that's twice as cool as any athletic championship.
Yeah, and he's like the lead robot guy, I believe. Like, I think he's running the robot. I don't want to talk him up too much, but I can't help it. Dads like to boast about their kids.
No, you got to boast. You got to boast.
You got to do a little bit of boasting. So yeah, a little bittersweet today, making the last lunch for the kid, and knowing that he's going off to college in the fall, but also really exciting this month. A lot of stuff going on here. A lot of stuff going on with the White Sox. For the first time ever, I'm annoyed with Will Venable because I feel like he gave away game 2 against the Angels.
Yes.
It was poor decision making. Let me tell you something. We just did a show that came out on Tuesday morning. Was that in response to somebody saying on a podcast? I don't think it is, but what was it, us saying that Acuna and Caro are automatic outs and you should never have them in the same lineup? Because a week after the last time he had put him in the same lineup, he puts him in the same lineup and he bats Caro, who can't buy a hit, who couldn't hit his way out of a wet paper bag currently, in the 5 spot. You lose the game by 1 run. There were multiple times where it just felt like the lineup wasn't clicking. It was a weird lineup out there. It's the kind of lineup that you'd run out there after you've won 2 games already in the series. I know that you've been beating the crap out of the Angels, but did you underestimate them? Because I understand that you're like, oh, maybe I can get Caro going if I can move him up in the lineup and surround him with people. Let him work it out down at the 8 or the 9 spot, because he's had well over a month to get it going, and he's one of the guys having a problem. I don't know if he lasts when Kyle Teal comes back. He probably goes down to the minor leagues if Drew Romo continues to do what he's doing. And I don't have anything against him. I want him to work it out, come back, and be a star on this team. I've talked him up all last year. I loved him. But right now, why is he the 5 hitter in that lineup? Why did it feel like with Murakami on the bench and him on the 5 as the 5 hitter, we were just assuming we could send anything out there against the Angels because we were hot? And you should have won that series. I mean, I'll take 500 on the road anytime, but you're 3 under instead of possibly being 1 under. You would have gone 500 that night for the first time. It would have been cause for celebration and joy. I would have liked them to take that game more seriously. They probably win it if he does as a manager with his lineup.
Right, and you also can't assume that in Game 3, just because Noah Schultz has been pitching really, really well, that he's not going to go out and facing a team for the second time, that they're not going to have some idea of what to do with him, or that he's going to pitch, more poorly on the road against the Angels than he did at home against the Angels. It's just one of those things where you're right. He ran out a Sunday lineup, Ozzy's old Sunday lineups where Chris Widger would be behind the plate, and, you'd have the bench empty basically. And he does it in the middle of a series, which doesn't make any sense. And I don't know that there's an answer to getting Edgar Caro going. I think the answer is sit him down, just sit him and play Romo as much as you need to, and let Caro, think about it, mull it over, work in the cage. I mean, in that game, there's literally an interview with Davis Martin where, he gives kind of a sarcastic answer to, is it Mike Vassal's magic wand that's got them hot? And Davis is like, in no way, shape, or form is it all the preparation and studying the opponents and work in the cages and in the weight room or anything like that. It's definitely the wand.
It's a wand.
Yeah, it's definitely the wand. But what it tells me is that there is a culture here that Will Venable has instilled in terms of preparation, scouting, things that I think you and I agree some of the past managers, some of the past staffs did not seem to have down very well. We talk about the last playoff team where they're making fun of the White Sox defensive positioning when Aaron Bummer's on the mound because he's giving up weak ground balls, but nobody's there, and it comes down to scouting and it comes down to things like that. So if they're really doing all that, then fix Edgar Caro's head, get his head right, work with him in the cage to get his swing right, do something, but don't just run him out there in games that you kind of need to win, because you are on a hot streak and you can't take it for granted. This is a young team that needs to learn how to win and win consistently. And they can't have backslides like this just because you want to try something out.
Right. Now with the Mariners coming in now for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Royals series is nothing to laugh at. And then you got the Cubs, which will be, I think that'll be an experience. A home game, home series against the Chicago Cubs. It is a lively crowd. It should be really lively. The Cubs are really, really good, though. And then right after you're done with this homestand, you go on the road and go back to the West Coast for the Mariners and the Giants before you start a bunch of games against your division. You should have taken 2 out of 3 from the Angels here. You should have been able to keep the hot streak going. It was a weird decision on Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May, to run out a Sunday lineup. And look, I understand sometimes guys need rest. You tried to rest Murakami, he still gets 2 at-bats in that game and plays half the game, though. So is he resting or are you trying to win? Like when Ozzie would send out the crazy Ozzie lineup, he was determined to give those guys the day off, right? And only if it was like game on the line in the 9th inning would he pull a guy up because he had told that guy, you're getting your day of rest. But Murakami plays half the game. So if he's well enough and he's rested enough and you don't find it valuable enough to have him take a night off, put him in the lineup to start with.
Right.
It was an odd way to go out and play a game. It was almost like we're just kicking butt right now. It's the Angels. We're all kind of chill. You know, I could just basically put anything out there. I mean, he's been impressive to me as a manager. Don't get me wrong. He has. He's the best manager we've had compared to the last 2 managers for sure.
Completely.
This is a different level of manager yet, but I haven't gotten to see him completely with a good team. Like, what is he going to do in game when his decisions make an impact on whether they win or lose? Now, what he's doing with his locker room, how he's preparing his guys, guaranteed that has added wins to their record. I'm just saying on Tuesday, he may have added a loss to their record because of the lineup that he sent out there. For exterior windows, doors, patio doors, storm doors, look no further than Window and Door Superstore of Oak Forest. No high pressure sales. My dad is getting a brand new door. He comes to me today. He goes, hey, Window and Door Superstore. He knows because he listens to the show. He goes, how's it work? I said, you listen to the show every week. You go see them. He goes, where's it at? I go 159th and Ridgeland, a half block east of it, 6280 159th Street. I say it every week on the show, Dad. He goes, and they got all the stuff there. Like I felt like I was doing the ad for him. For a guy that tells me he listens to the show.
I think he was testing you.
I think he was. I was kind of impressed.
I
was able to rattle
wanted
it
to see
off.
if you could just do it off the top of your head.
So he's going out there this weekend. Okay, he's getting new doors. He'll meet the owner in the showroom. There's an owner on site with their own installers. They never farm out the work. They've been doing it in Oak Forest since 1985 with all major brands, custom made and no stock items for a perfect fit. Window and Door Superstore, half block east of 159th and Ridgeland at 6280 159th Street. See more at windowdooroakforest.com. And Jordan Leisure goes to the minors and gets optioned. And who's this guy? They just got this guy for cash. What's his name? Trevor Richards?
Speaking of Trevor Richards.
Okay,
yes.
So Trevor Richards comes up. Here's a guy who's, got some bright spots on his baseball card, got some not so bright spots on his baseball card. They did not rush him immediately to the lineup when they acquired him several days ago. But now they send Leisure down. And the question I have is, why him? Look, he's had some problems. But as a pitcher, he has been far more stable than, let's say, Beto, and definitely more stable than Jordan Hicks. And if Jordan Hicks was just acquired with his contract because you wanted to get David Sandlin, a better prospect in that deal with Boston, that's fine. So pay the money, but he doesn't need to be on the team with his 2 whip. He's putting 2 guys on per inning on average. When he comes into a game, I always go, well, it's mop-up time or we've given up. That's how I feel every time he goes out to the mound. And so Leisure gets sent down because he has options. Is that why it happens? Is that the only reason? And if that's the case, you're not trying to field the best 26 on the roster, or is there something they want him to work on specifically? Do they feel like he's close, but he's not getting his full potential? Does he need to work on a new pitch? What do you think it is?
I think it's the homers. I think a 2.8 homers per 9 is abysmal for a reliever, let alone a setup guy. 6.06 ERA. I think what they're looking at with him is what the eyeball test is. It's a flat fastball, and it's a good breaking ball when it breaks, and it's a lollipop pitch when it doesn't. And so they need him, I think, to come up with a little bit more consistency, either learn to cut his fastball or get some movement on it, or he needs to refine what his breaking stuff or off-speed stuff is so that he's got better handle on it. Because you don't really have, we've talked about this, you don't have a whole lot of guys that you can trust in tight situations, and they want Leisure to be that guy, and they've been trying to make Leisure that guy. And even though he's got, a respectable whip of 1.22,
the ERA is high because it's home runs. I mean, that's the thing. Like, the guy that gets on base actually gets all 4 of the bases. That's why his whip is low and his ERA is high.
Exactly. So he doesn't let a whole lot of guys on, but when he does, they go all the way around, and that's the problem.
They take a leisurely jog is what happens.
Yeah. So it's I think they send him down to work on some stuff. Options certainly help, but all things being equal, if they were happy with the way Leisure was pitching, I don't think Beto would be here, because Richards and Beto serve kind of the same thing. They're both guys that you would probably look to in that long relief role, mop-up role. I don't think Richards has ever been, a setup guy per se. He's been a solid reliever for the Blue Jays, and he was just sort of squeezed out of a Philly team that, felt like they had better options. So you pick him up, you give him a try. But it really does. When I saw Leisure going down, my first thought was they are really tired of putting him in late innings and watching balls sail over the fence.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that makes a lot of sense. There was an article by Ken Rosenthal recently, just some news and notes from around the league. And there was a blurb about the Sox, because now we're relevant. Because, like I heard something on the radio the other day, they were, and maybe it was today before I recorded, where they were breaking down like wins above replacement for position players, not including pitchers. And they gave the top 5. And the reason they were doing it is I think the Cubs are at the top of it right now. So, of course, it was Sports Talk Radio talking about the Cubs. They don't talk about the White Sox very much. Talk about the Cubs. And then they gave the bottom 5. And I winced every time they worked through the bottom 5, because I'm like, please don't let it be the White Sox. Please don't let it be the White Sox. But the Sox are kind of middle of the road right now. The Sox have a star in Murakami. The Sox have a star in Colson Montgomery. He plays really good defense. And he's looking really good for a guy that hasn't even gotten his first calendar year in the major leagues. And I feel like his arrow's pointing up and he's going to continue to improve. And that's what the blurb was about. I'll read it out of the Rosenthal article. Here it is. White Sox general manager Chris Getz said the attention on Murakami actually is benefiting Montgomery, allowing him to settle in.
No kidding.
Here's the thing. This is exactly what we have talked about. We have talked about this now through multiple rebuilds on this show. Sox in the Basement is 8 years old this year. It started in 2018. We have had this conversation ad nauseum on this broadcast. The idea that you can't just say we have all these prospects and at some point they're all just going to show up and they're all going to have a linear development. And when they get here, they're just going to pop. It's going to be amazing. And when we don't have to spend a lot of money on our team and we don't want to block anybody. So once we know who the third baseman is, he's the third baseman. And once we know who the shortstop is, he's the shortstop. And the good news is that with this new regime, they just continue to draft and acquire athletes, lots of shortstops and center fielders. And they don't care if somebody's blocked, because if the guy up at the major league level doesn't work out, somebody else is going to get in there and push him out of the way. And that's how it should be. But the other thing that we kept saying is you can't just have prospects, and you can't have like guys that are just journeymen on 1-year contracts with a 1-year option. All the Austin Hayeses of the world. You can't do that. You got to actually, if you can get your hands on real baseball players, and everybody thinks I'm nuts when I say this, go out and sign a big guy with all the roster, the payroll flexibility you have. So you have a real guy in the middle of the order that scares the crap out of pitchers. Well, they got that. And they fell into it because the rest of Major League Baseball screwed up on Murakami. They screwed up on him. That's why they're all out there right now saying the White Sox should trade him before the deadline because, they don't need him. We need him. And the Sox, according to a lot of reports out there, want to keep him and want to re-sign him. And I would imagine they've already had those conversations with him. And so, here's the thing. They fell into what I kept saying they had to go and do. When I said the pie in the sky thing, I'd go out and give Bo Bichette a ton of money. And I would have been a little stupid there because he's gotten off to a bad start in his new home. But when I was giving that example, there was a reason behind it. The reasoning was you need a guy like that allows the other guys an opportunity to develop, because not all the attention is on them. They fell into Murakami being a star a little bit. They kind of fell into it. And now they have this star, and it benefits Montgomery and everybody else that's trying to work their way into the majors and realize all of their potential. And so a team that's 3 games under 500 would be a lot further down if they didn't have him. And a guy like Colson Montgomery might not be playing as well. It's about time that there was an example of it on this team. I hope they learn their lesson.
Right. Well, and the thing is that with Murakami, sure, he is not an established major league talent, but he had a track record and he had a pedigree in Japan that suggested he was going to come over here and be able to make an adjustment at some point and be able to play Major League Baseball, because there's a history of Japanese players being able to translate their game into the majors. There were concerns about his ability to catch up to the fastball. That's not a concern. It's a concern about his ability to adjust to off-speed pitches. It's not a concern. But having somebody else in the lineup that can hit home runs, having more power in the lineup. If they don't sign Murakami, all right, Austin Hayes was never a home run hitter. Okay, the back of his baseball card does not hold that to be true. It would be Colson Montgomery and Miguel Vargas, and I'm not sure Vargas would hit as many home runs because he's benefited from pitchers having to work their butts off around Murakami, and Vargas has hit around him. He's hit either in front of him or behind him for a lot of the season. And Colson does not have to pressure himself to be the only source of home runs in this lineup. And so you look at the way the lineup's falling around with Montgomery and Murakami spaced a little bit apart, with Vargas in there is another potential power bat. I don't want to get into a Miguel Vargas conversation here. A guy like Sam Antonacci can come up here and just be a pest. He doesn't have to be anything special. He can be a guy that turns into something of a rising star because he could just be a baseball player and do what he's doing. Get on base, wreak havoc on the base paths, and play a really good left field. Speaking of drafting your shortstops and your middle infielders and converting them, any complaints about Sam Antonacci in the outfield? I don't have any.
No, I don't have any, because you have an athlete that's standing out there, and I think that's why they have that philosophy. I think it's a good philosophy. James Fox was on the last episode of Sox in the Basement, and he touched on that, among other things. If you missed that episode, go back and check it out. And Ed, I want to tell you a little bit about a new addition to those that support Sox in the Basement, Moose Vinyl. Now,
well, this is exciting.
Oh, it's really cool. I got into record collecting like a while ago. Actually, I got into record collection because I was getting divorced, and my sister was like, he needs a hobby. My brother needs something to do. He likes music. Here's a record player and a couple of records, right? And so I've gotten into it. I like going to record stores. And Moose Vinyl is an application for record collectors to manage their record collections, buy and sell, and it's available on your iPhone, coming very soon to Android. If you punch it into an AI generator and ask about what Moose Vinyl is, because I did this today, AI will pop back, Google AI will pop back. It's a newer, streamlined app designed for collectors that allows importing CSV files from other platforms to manage collections. If you already use somebody like Moose Vinyl, even the big boys, the AI thing immediately sat there and said, but this is the most user-friendly one there is. It's the best interface that there is. And they are the up-and-coming app to definitely go out and manage your record collection. And I've met the guys that developed it, and now they have a brick and mortar record store for you to experience. It's in Lamont. They have taken over the historic B-Sides record. It's now B-Sides by Moose Vinyl in Lamont downtown at 306 Canal Street. And they are currently selling turntables and vintage audio equipment at discount through July at that location. So get the Moose Vinyl app. Get out to Lamont and check out B-Sides by Moose Vinyl, another addition to the Sox in the Basement family. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention today that, I don't know. I just wanted to know your opinion on it. Okay, it's a stupid conversation. It's a little off the beaten path here. There was a list put out, top 10 all-time what-if players, guys that dealt with injury. What could they have been if their career was not cut short? And there's guys on there like Mike Trout, whose career has not been cut short, but he had back problems, right? There are guys who Mark Pryor's on the list, on the top 10, right? Dwight Gooden's on there. Eric Davis is on there. And the first thing I said was, why isn't Bo Jackson on there? Because Bo Jackson was 27 years old, coming off his best season when he gets hurt. When he gets his hip injured. And honestly, here's the thing. If he doesn't get injured, he probably never ends up on the White Sox, right? The Sox took a stab at a guy that nobody thought was ever going to play again. And then they let him play baseball on an artificial hip. And he was really good for a couple years doing that. That's a guy right there. The way he could play defense, the way he could throw, the way he could hit, just the attitude on the field. If he's a full-time baseball player, and I think he eventually becomes one if he's not injured, because his career goes longer if he's not getting himself killed out there playing football. If he doesn't have that untimely injury and he's just a baseball player, he'd be a Hall of Famer. I feel like he's a Hall of Famer, and he's one of the great players of his era. If not that, I was surprised he wasn't on the list. You think I'm far off on that?
No, because he was. Go back and look at his highlights. Look at the highlights when he was a Royal, and some of the things that he was doing on the field, like in the field. Okay, he was Ken Griffey Jr., but like twice the size and with a better arm.
Right.
Okay.
He's what Barry Bonds wanted to be, so Barry Bonds took horse steroids.
Right, but Barry Bonds was never that fast.
No.
That's the thing. When I say he was Ken Griffey, I mean Bo Jackson was one of the fastest guys in the league. He had one of the best arms, and he was enormously strong.
You could not run on him. If you tried to run on him, he was going to gun you down. He could gun you down at third base from right field. He could gun you down from the warning track trying to score from third to home. You did not run on Bo Jackson. No,
and to your point, age 27 season, 1990, he's hitting 272 with an 866 OPS, 28 home runs. He'd hit 32 the year before in more games. He played 111 games that year in his age 27 year. And when he comes back with a hip injury, even with the hip injury in really playing half seasons, 16 home runs, 13 home runs. His last year with the Angels in 94, he plays 75 games. It's 279 with 13 homers.
And only 79 games.
In 79 games.
The injury's what keeps this guy back.
Absolutely. And so when you put together what he was able to do in the field and the fact that he was improving as a baseball player, if he doesn't have the hip injury while playing for the Raiders, he is absolutely, a top 5 baseball player for his entire career every year. He's in the MVP conversation.
He doesn't play for us
every single year.
He doesn't play for us. We would have been outpriced, and the Royals would have never let him go, or he would have ended up like a Yankee or something like that. We all know that. Like, we get the beauty of a Bo Jackson 1993 season. When they clinched the Western Division over the Mariners, I was at that game, second row in right field. That row doesn't exist anymore because then the bar was expanded. That's out there. But second row in right field with my father. I was in left field with my dad, and he never leaves the field after that. Not only did he have a great game in that clinching game and have a great year for the Sox, and one of the reasons why they won that division in '93. But then that was the game where they all took out the White Sox. That was what we were all doing in that game. It was all White Sox spinning. And he just runs around the field like 3 times with his White Sox. He was so excited. He was slapping high fives with every fan that could get their hand out there all the way around the stadium. That guy loved baseball, and he really loved that White Sox team too.
And then in the ALCS, he threw Dan Pasqua under like 5 different Canadian buses when he said that they were playing one player short at DH. So
he wasn't wrong.
He wasn't wrong.
That music means the SoxNerd, Dave Marin, is on the line with his trivia nuggets and tidbits and all that great stuff that he puts up on the scoreboard at the rate. He gives you much, much more right here on Sox in the Basement each and every week. I gotta talk to him. I'm going speed dating tonight, Ed. I'm going speed dating.
So you need tidbits about all the people you're going to meet there?
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try a new tidbit, a new SoxNerd tidbit, and also my thoughts on Bo Jackson with every date.
Well, there you go.
And if she responds to it, she's worth a second date. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. Like that. I'm only searching for White Sox people that are into baseball tonight. That's going to be what I do. We'll see how that works out.
Nothing wrong with a little social experiment.
We'll have a little social experiment tonight. It's as long as I'm entertained. The SoxNerd is brought to you by the Village of Lamont. Want to experience a downtown with real history, great eats and drinks, and green spaces filled with adventure? Visit the Village of Lamont, shop, dine, drink, explore, and see everything they have going on, not only on their website, but on the Lamont Unlocked podcast with yours truly. See it all at lamontdowntown.com. Nerd, what do you got for us?
Chris? Wow, Davis Martin has been sensational so far this season. At the time of this recording, the right-hander is 5-1 with a 1.64 ERA. In his first 7 starts, Martin allowed just 37 hits in 44 innings with only 8 walks and 43 strikeouts. His whip was 1.02, and he's holding hitters to a 618 OPS. He was tied for second in the majors in wins, third in ERA, and 7th in innings pitched. Martin notched 4 of his wins in the season's first month, making him the first Sox pitcher to do that in a decade, and his ERA through the Sox' first 44 games was the lowest since 2016. Martin's start on Monday in Anaheim was really impressive. He became just the 8th pitcher in Sox history to throw at least 7 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts and no walks while allowing no more than 5 hits in a road game. The other Sox to do this are Giolito, Sale, Vasquez, Peavy, Garcia, Perez, and Bannister. Monday's performance made Martin 3-0 with a 1.78 ERA in 4 starts following a loss this season, which may be the most impressive thing about his performance thus far. Based on all this, Martin would be an easy choice as a Game 1 starter in the playoffs. What? That doesn't sound so crazy when you consider Martin's Monday win put the Sox in a wildcard spot. Pinch me. What do you want to know about recent White Sox signee Randal Grichuk? Well, he joined the Sox with 221 home runs. The last player to debut for the Sox with more dingers was Edwin Encarnacion at 414 in 2020. The player who joined the Sox with the most bombs was Ken Griffey Jr. at 608 in 2008. Grichuk is one of 37 players to join the White Sox with at least 200 home runs. You want to see the entire list? It's on my SoxNerd WordPress blog, which you can access at soxinthebasement.com. Grichuk has homered against all 30 MLB teams, and he's gone deep off Sox hurlers Sale, Lopez, Covey, Nova, and Lynn. The Sox picked him up just in time. Grichuk is a .311 hitter against the Cubs and a .318 hitter with 5 homers at Wrigley Field. Grichuk seemed to be finding his stroke as his Yankee tenure was coming to an end. He hit .333 with a .556 slugging percentage over his final 7 games with the Bombers. There was little power, though. In those last 7 games, in which the Yankees went 6-1, Grichuk had only 2 extra base hits and both were doubles. Before I get to my stumper answer and zinger, let me remind you I'm posting daily on X, Instagram, and Threads. Tommy John is the Sox pitcher who led the AL in shutouts twice in the 1960s and is the answer to my stumper. John was a cornerstone of the Sox' excellent pitching staffs of the 1960s before he underwent his groundbreaking surgery, which bears his name. My zinger? Grichuk is wearing 34, which makes him the first Sox position player to don the number since 1999 when Jason DeLaro wore it. Since then, only Sox pitchers Garcia, Floyd, Albers, Swarzak, and Kopech have had 34 on their back. That's it, Chris. Probably more than you wanted to know about Davis Martin, Randal Grichuk, and Sox 34s.
Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement.
Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found and always on soxinthebasement.com.